Hey, my friend, come sit with me for a minute. Have you ever had that feeling, deep down in your gut, that there's a version of you are, powerful, brilliant version, that you've never quite been able to unlock? It's not just a daydream. It feels more like a memory of a future you're supposed to have. For years, I felt that stirring, like a distant echo of my own destiny calling out to me. I thought it was just wishful thinking until I stumbled upon something that changed everything. It wasn't just a piece of advice. It felt like a sacred key, a specific frequency that started to awaken a part of my mind I didn't even know was asleep. And that was the moment it all clicked. I realized I had been a passenger in my own life, and it was time to get in the driver's seat. So, I want you to forget every limit you've ever placed on yourself. Today, I'm going to share with you the very blueprint I used to build an empire inside my own mind, a spiritual fortress so strong that I began to see the world around me reshape itself to my will. This is your birthright, too. If what I'm about to share strikes a chord in your soul, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're on this journey together. And in the comments, just type, "I am ready." Your declaration is a signal to the universe, and a light for others who are just beginning to wake up. Let me be clear right from the start. The path I'm talking about isn't about making tiny little tweaks to your life. Forget about becoming just a little bit better or thinking a little bit faster. Honestly, I spent years chasing those small wins, and they left me feeling empty. This is something else entirely. This is a profound, soul-deep metamorphosis. It's about taking the raw material of who you are and alchemizing it into a person whose very presence commands respect, whose vibration is so clear and powerful that others feel a sense of awe, even a little fear. To challenge you, can you imagine that? Imagine being able to see the world like a grand chessboard, understanding the cause and effect of every move, 10 or 20 steps ahead of everyone else. While people are still trying to figure out the rules of the game, you're already orchestrating the outcome. It's about operating from a higher frequency of thought, a place where you see the interconnected patterns of fate and navigate them like a master sailor on the cosmic seas. You learn to turn every obstacle into a stepping stone, every challenge into a divine catalyst for your own ascension. That, my friend, is what true power feels like. Intelligence is a weapon. It took me a long time to truly understand that in my bones. When you look at the grand, sweeping story of humanity, what do you see? You see empires rise like suns and fall like stars. But what's the invisible force behind it all? It's intelligence. It has always been the single most decisive weapon in the human arsenal. The greatest battles in history weren't won by the biggest armies or the sharpest swords. No, those were just the final, bloody performances. The real war was won long before, in the silent, sacred chambers of the mind. Victory has always belonged to those who could outthink, outmaneuver, and outsmart their opponents. They didn't just see soldiers and terrain. They saw the entire battlefield of the human soul, the enemy's fears, their commander's pride, the whisper of doubt in the ranks, and they wove it all into a perfect tapestry of triumph. You see, empires built on brute force alone are like sandcastles. They're destined to be washed away by the tides of time. I've seen it happen in business, in relationships, in my own life. True, lasting empires of influence, of legacy, of spirit. They're built on something far more profound. They rise from the divine spark of strategy, the relentless pulse of innovation, and that almost godlike ability to see what's coming before anyone else does. The visionaries who shaped our world didn't just react to their circumstances. They bent reality to their will through the sheer force of their intellect. They saw doorways where everyone else saw solid walls. They saw opportunities where others saw only dead ends. Their legacy wasn't forged in a furnace. It was crafted in the silent, focused crucible of a disciplined mind. And what's their secret? They don't just see the world as it is. They see it as it could be. They're playing a celestial game of chess, while the rest of the world is still trying to figure out the rules of checkers. But here's the part that changed my life, and I need you to listen closely to this. We're often told that this kind of supreme intelligence is a gift, something you're either born with or you're not. That's a lie. It's a cage built by the mediocre to keep everyone else from realizing their own power. I bought into that lie for years, feeling like I was somehow lacking, But the truth is so much more empowering. Intelligence is a craft. It's a sacred skill. Think of it like a muscle in your soul that can be built, refined, and sharpened every single day with unwavering discipline. With enough training, it becomes your greatest spiritual armor, your most formidable advantage. You have the divine seed of this power within you, right now, just waiting for you to water it. Every brilliant mind in history, every master strategist, every game-changing innovator, they all started somewhere. They started with nothing but a spark of potential, just like you. So what separates these titans from everyone else? It's not where they started, it's the path they chose to walk. It's how they relentlessly trained their minds to see opportunities where others only saw obstacles. It's how they disciplined their focus to find solutions where others just made excuses and gave up. They understood a fundamental truth. The mind, just like a master's sword, has to be forged in the fire of adversity and hammered on the anvil of challenge to gain its true strength and its deadly edge. And today, I'm going to show you how to light that forge within yourself. We're not talking about just getting a little smarter. This is about a complete and total transformation of your entire being. It's about rewriting your cognitive and spiritual operating system from the ground up. By the time you integrate what I'm about to share, you won't just be a step ahead. You'll be in a different league entirely, operating with a level of awareness and strategic clarity that most people can't even fathom. The method that I discovered, my personal key, I call it cognitive edge conditioning. And trust me, it's more than just a brain hack. It's a complete system for cognitive and spiritual warfare. It's a way of thinking designed to place you at the apex of any situation, to give you an undeniable edge. It's engineered to grant you a psychological advantage that makes you smarter, faster, and more adaptable than anyone you'll ever meet. This system will recalibrate your mind to not just survive pressure, but to thrive in it, to find absolute clarity in the middle of chaos. It's how you'll start to see the hidden pathways to victory that are invisible to everyone else. It's the key to unlocking your highest self. And here are the steps I took to master it and claim my own destiny. First, I had to learn how to create cognitive tension. This is so important. Remember this. Your comfort zone is where your potential goes to die. It's a silent poison that dulls your edge and lulls your spirit into a deep, comfortable slumber. When everything feels easy and predictable, your mind gets lazy. It loses its vitality, its hunger. But when you intentionally create tension, when you walk a path where failure is a very real possibility, something incredible happens. You force your brain into a divine survival mode. And that, my friend, is where the real magic is. In that fire of tension, your mind becomes razor sharp. It adapts, it evolves, it learns to operate at a level of efficiency you never thought possible. It unlocks new neural pathways. Your senses heighten, your thoughts crystallize, and your ability to process the world around you accelerates exponentially. So, how do you actually do this? Here's what worked for me. 1. I deliberately started seeking out debates with people who were smarter than me. I used to be terrified of looking foolish, but I learned to run towards that fear. I found people whose logic was so sharp it could cut steel, and I let them challenge my most deeply held beliefs. Man, it was brutal at first. I felt my assumptions getting dismantled piece by piece, but in that process, my own mind was being forged into a weapon. 2. I took on a task where failure simply wasn't an option. I put myself in a high-stakes situation that demanded every ounce of my focus, precision, and creativity. For me, it was a business venture that had all my savings tied up in it. The pressure was immense, but my brain rose to the occasion because it had no other choice. It had to find a way. And 3, this was the hardest but most rewarding part. I deliberately and consistently stepped into situations that made me profoundly uncomfortable. I started doing public speaking, which used to make my stomach turn. I learned to negotiate, to stand my ground. I forced myself to learn complex new skills. This is the true path of the spiritual warrior. You have to embrace the very things that make you want to shrink. Each time you push your brain to its absolute limits, it doesn't just survive, it gets stronger. It starts to see new angles, new solutions, new opportunities that are completely invisible to those trapped in the warm, suffocating blanket of their comfort zone. This is how you train your mind to be calm and centered in the eye of any storm. You are conditioning yourself for greatness. The second step for me was mastering predictive thinking. I want you to imagine this for a second. Imagine walking into any room, any situation, and having a deep, intuitive knowing of what's going to happen next. It sounds like a superpower, right? Well, it's not. It's the power of predictive thinking. It's the ability you can develop to anticipate actions, reactions, and outcomes before they even happen. And it's not just guessing. It's a highly refined skill built on a foundation of intense observation and analysis. It's about learning to see the invisible currents of human behavior, to map the probable flow of events by understanding the patterns that are always there, right beneath the surface. It's the art of seeing the future by deeply, profoundly understanding the present. So how do you train this prophetic skill? Here's my playbook. 1. I started studying people with an almost obsessive focus. I learned to look past their words and pay attention to everything else: their habits, the tiny flicker in their eye, the subtle shifts in their body language, their emotional triggers. Everyone is constantly broadcasting their inner world. You just have to learn to tune into the right frequency. 2. I began to see patterns everywhere. Life is full of repeating cycles. I observed how situations unfolded at work, in my social life, during arguments. History, both my own and the world's, became my greatest textbook. When you understand the patterns of the past, you gain an incredible power to predict the future. And 3, I started a constant, running dialogue in my head. In every situation, I would ask myself, what will happen next, and what can I do to influence it? As I practiced this, my ability to anticipate became sharper and faster. I started seeing moves on the chessboard that others couldn't, and soon I was always 1, 10, 100 steps ahead. Step 3 was about strengthening my mental agility. And let me tell you, this is the hurdle where most people stumble and fall, flat on their face. They cling to one plan, one strategy, one way of seeing the world. They become rigid, inflexible. And what happens when their one perfect plan hits a snag? It shatters, and they shatter right along with it. I used to be that person. I thought I had the perfect plan for my life, and then I got a phone call that changed everything, and my whole world fell apart. That's when I learned that mental agility is the key to staying in control, no matter how chaotic life gets. It's the sacred art of being like water. You know, it can flow around any obstacle, adapt to any container, but it's also powerful enough to crash through any barrier. It means having not just a plan A, but a plan B, C, and D, all ready to go. So, how do you build this kind of supreme agility? 1. I started taking on tasks with shifting rules. I'd play games or start projects where I knew the parameters would change halfway through. It forced my brain to ditch old strategies and create new ones on the fly. It was like a workout for my adaptive muscles. 2. I began to practice debating from opposing perspectives. I'd take a belief I held strongly and force myself to argue passionately for the other side. This exercise was incredible. It shattered my rigid thinking and trained my brain to see every angle of an issue. And 3. I started embracing change in my daily life. I'd intentionally alter my routines, learn something completely new, and tackle unexpected challenges head-on. Every time you welcome change instead of resisting it, you train your mind to be agile. And when you're truly agile, you're always ready. While others are panicking, you're seamlessly shifting from one strategy to the next, never losing your calm and never losing control. Step 4. This one is my ace in the hole. Dominate through unpredictability. Let's be real. Predictability is the enemy of power. The second someone knows what you're going to do next, you've lost your edge. They can counter you, outmaneuver you. That's where most people get stuck. They become a creature of habit, too easy to read. To truly dominate, you have to master the art of unpredictability. Now, this doesn't mean being random. It means mastering strategic misdirection. It's like being a magician. You keep your true intentions hidden while you make your opponent believe they know exactly what you're doing. The element of surprise becomes your most powerful weapon, and their confusion becomes your greatest ally. So, how do you train this? 1. Defy expectations strategically. Make moves that seem unexpected, but secretly align perfectly with your bigger goals. Take calculated risks that no one would see coming. 2. Change your patterns frequently. Break the routines people use to label you. In your work, your conversations, your strategies, keep them guessing by constantly evolving. 3. Conceal your true intentions. Never lay all your cards on the table. Share just enough to satisfy their curiosity, but keep the heart of your strategy hidden. A partially revealed plan is often more deceptive than total silence. And 4. Create false trails. Sometimes, the best move is to let them think they've figured you out. Lead them down a dead-end path while you're in the shadows, executing your real plan. The result of all this, you become an enigma. No one can pin you down. Your unpredictability keeps them on edge, wasting their energy, while you maintain absolute control, always staying steps ahead of the game. Step 5 is where it all comes together. This is the real secret, harnessing the divine power of emotional intelligence. Look, true power isn't just about cold, hard logic. Logic can win you an argument, sure, but it's emotional intelligence that wins you the hearts and minds of people. It's the key to understanding, influencing, and ultimately controlling any situation. Think of it this way: if logic is your sword, emotional intelligence is the skilled hand that wields it. It allows you to feel the emotional currents in a room, to inspire unwavering trust, to instantly diffuse conflict, and, when you need to subtly guide situations toward your desired outcome. This skill doesn't just make you smarter, it makes you dangerously powerful. How did I train it? 1. I learned to decode the subtle cues. I started paying attention to the unspoken signals people give off the flicker of an eye, the slightest change in their tone, the way they hold their hands. These little things reveal everything their words try to hide. 2. I mastered active listening. Most people listen just so they can talk. I started listening to truly understand. I listened for what was being said, what was being left unsaid, and the emotions driving it all. This allowed me to connect with people on a level they weren't used to. And 3. I learned to control my own emotions. Emotional intelligence starts with you. I recognized my own triggers, my own emotional patterns, and I learned to manage them instead of letting them manage me. Once you master your own emotions, they become tools. You can project confidence, calmness, or even intimidation at will. With emotional intelligence, you don't just understand people, you shape their reality. You can inspire loyalty or instill caution. You can make people feel like they're winning when, in fact, they're playing your game. Trust me, mastering this is not an option, it's essential. And that brings me to step 6, my final secret, the 48-hour mastermind rule. After every big win, and especially after every crushing failure, I step back. The real key to mastering your mind isn't just in the heat of the moment, it's in the quiet reflection that follows. Your brain needs time and space to process what happened, to analyze the patterns, and to uncover the deep insights you missed when the adrenaline was pumping. This isn't procrastination, it's strategy. By pausing, you let your subconscious mind do its work, connecting dots and refining your understanding. Here's how I apply it. 1. I sleep on every major decision. Before I commit to anything big, I give myself 48 hours. This delay allows my subconscious to process everything, and often, the most brilliant ideas surface when I least expect them. 2. I reflect on my wins and losses. After any significant event, I set aside time to analyze it. What worked? What didn't? What could I have done differently? This transforms every experience into wisdom. And 3. I brainstorm alternatives. During that 48-hour window, I think through different approaches, even if my original plan worked. This keeps me flexible and prepared for anything. This simple habit elevates your thinking, sharpens your strategies, and makes your execution deadly efficient. You'll no longer just react to the moment, you'll dominate it, armed with a clarity that only comes from mastering this rule. This, my friend, is the final stage. This is the apex of the transformation, where your intelligence, your strategy, and your control all converge into one unstoppable force. At this level, you're not just playing the game anymore. You're rewriting the rules of reality itself. Mediocrity has no place here. The universe rewards those who rise above, who perfect their craft, and who dominate their surroundings with precision and purpose. Mastering this system isn't about small improvements. It's about reaching a level of consciousness where you don't just compete, you control. Every move you make feels calculated, unstoppable, inevitable. And hey, if you're still here, you're one of the few with the spirit to make it this far. What you do next will separate you from everyone else. These steps aren't just strategies, they are your blueprint to complete dominance. But this path isn't for everyone. It's for those who are ready to claim their place at the top. So, are you ready to sharpen your mind, master your strategies, and become truly untouchable? Because what comes next will change everything. Are you prepared to take the final steps and become the apex thinker you were born to be? Let's begin. Here's my challenge to you. Pick just one step from this system, whether it's creating cognitive tension, mastering predictive thinking, or strengthening your mental agility, and commit to mastering it for the next 7 days. Push yourself, step into discomfort, train your mind to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Then, I want you to come back here and share your progress. What did you learn? What surprised you? How did the world start to shift as you sharpened your edge? Remember, the difference between the ordinary and the untouchable is action. So take that first step today and let the transformation begin. The world won't know what hit it.